In the Invincible universe, there are many extremely powerful threats, but none are as dangerously underestimated and as emotionally driven as Powerplex. He's one of the only characters who openly blames and attacks Invincible for the destruction in Chicago, which is kind of ironic because there wouldn't have been anything left if Invincible didn't stand up to Omni-Man. But in this video, we're going to look at just how strong Powerplex really is. Now, the comics and the show handle things differently, so to properly scale him, I'll be pulling feats from both. And first, we need to look at what he can actually do. Powerplex's superhuman powers grants him the ability to absorb kinetic energy and turn it into his power, making him stronger, faster, and even giving him the ability to manipulate electricity by channeling the energy he stored by taking damage from his enemies. In the show, we first see this ability in use when his niece Gretchen punches his hands as they start to generate electricity.
Cool! Make a bigger one.
Now that we know how his power works, I will scale him to the best of my ability. I will cover his attack potency, destructive capacity, strength, durability, and endurance. Starting off with his attack potency. Just how powerful is it? We see the supervillain use his kinetic absorbing abilities once more against Guardian of the Globe member Shapesmith, who hits the villain until he charges enough energy to use a massive attack, putting Shapesmith down, who is as durable as Martian Man. In the comics a little while after the Shapesmith fight, he takes on the Reform Team where he takes them all down effortlessly, one of them being a fairly durable character and bulletproof who was able to trade punches with a variant of Mark, and while he took heavy damage, he still could move around and carry Robot and Monster Girl in her human form away from the Team, which shows how durable he is. This puts Powerplex's attack potency, while fully charged, above Retromark's, who is definitely in the top 10 of the strongest variants. When he finally comes across Invincible, he is able to damage Mark, and while it's not crazy damage, it does make him scream out in pain, and we know Mark to be very durable as he tanked a nuke earlier on. I mention this feat because even though Mark tends to hold back against his enemies, he's still very durable, and to make him feel pain is something no one on Earth, outside of a few people, can do. Even the strongest of heroes like the Immortal and Bulletproof can't cause damage to Invincible.
For everything you've done!
But this feat was nowhere near as crazy as the next one. In the comics, after Mohawk Mark destroys the prison, Wolfman escapes. Then, Powerplex arrives and one-taps him, despite being low on energy at the time. In the show, he fights against a Mark variant during the Invincible War, where he kills the variant, and while it's unconfirmed which variant it is, fans have speculated it to be Light Blue Invincible, which he fried to dust, and he should scale above Season 1 Mark in all forms of scaling. Later on, in the comics, he joined a team called the Actioneers, and helps take out the Flaxons as they try to take over Earth again, with more advanced tech, which Powerplex casually destroys their tanks and ships. Last time they needed Omni-Man to take them out, and now they're more powerful than ever, and the fact that he is not only holding his own, but doing it so casually speaks the volumes of his strength. If I had to scale his attack potency, I would say he's city level while fully charged, based on the fact that he hits hard enough to vaporize a Mark variant, who should be durable enough to survive multi-city level attacks, based off the fact that they should all be stronger than Season 1 Mark, who survived an onslaught from Omni-Man all over the planet and survived a mountain level punch while already heavily damaged. On the other hand, if someone were to have enough strength to knock him out in one hit, Mohawk Mark, or hold him down causing him to use all of his built up energy, Mark and Oliver, and not let him charge up his power, then I'll say his attack potency is probably around the average hero's level, which is like wall level to building plus, or maybe even less, due to the fact that it did nothing to Mohawk Mark, and we don't see his powers being used against anyone else without being charged beforehand. Now we focus on his durability. How strong of a punch can he take? He doesn't have much feats on, and it is very hard to scale knowing his power works, but I'll try to the best of my ability. Going back to the fight against Teen Team, he shrugged off all of their attacks with Bulletproof being able to hit at least a multi-city block, putting his absorption max capacity at least near that level. Back in the Invincible fight, while we know Mark tends to hold back a ton, even his pulled punches would do damage to almost everyone on the planet. Mohawk Mark one-shots him, but as we know, the variants don't really hold back as they are not heroes and don't care about other people. This is the same version of Mark who can make our own Mark bleed. Now, here's an interesting feat from the show. He jumps off a high building to build up kinetic energy. He was hesitant to jump as he thought it would be too much damage, and it turns out to have actually hurt him a little bit. So maybe dropping him high places could kill him before he's able to charge energy? The final durability feat we get from Powerplex is him surviving long enough against an invincible variant who should be above Season 1 Mark to charge enough kinetic energy and fully evaporate him, and the variants tend to not hold back due to their evil nature. This gives us further evidence that he can take punches of characters who are city country level. You can also scale his durability to lower levels if someone overpowers him and holds him down, and the weakest person we see do this is Oliver with Mark's help in the show. As for the comics, he was stopped by Badrock, but that was only because he had an immunity to the electrical currents. With all of the evidence on trial, I would put Powerplex's durability anywhere from city to country level, give or take. How much can he destroy? In all of his fights, Powerplex causes very little damage to the surrounding areas, making it hard for us to accurately scale him. But since his attack potency and durability scales to city country, then we can probably say the same for his destructive capability, but do not take this as an actual scale. Call me crazy, but I think he can survive a nuke. How much punishment can he endure? Explosions, aliens, creatures from another dimension, 10-foot tall monsters. None of them have the strength to put down Powerplex. Him surviving long enough to not only fully charge, but also vaporize the Viltrumite speaks volumes for his endurance. It's not that many characters who can go through so much punishment and come out perfectly fine like our electrical friend here can. Using the scaling from before, the variant Powerplex has endured city level attack potency and came out with no scratches, putting endurance on a level right below the top fighters such as the Viltrumites. If he isn't taking out with one punch, then his endurance can stack up until his guts are literally ripped out. So we stay closer to the top tier levels of endurance than he is to the lower levels. Not exactly Viltrumite / Battle Beast levels, but he's the closest we have. How fast is he? In Season 1, Mark pushes Alan to the moon all the way from Earth's orbit in just a few seconds. Powerplex with direct scaling above that version of Mark is capable of similar speed feats, which is supported by him constantly tagging and countering Adam Eve in their short scuffle, as she was able to react to and tag Conquest multiple times, who was much faster than light reaction speeds. Later on, in his redemption arc, he's able to tag Mark who's flying overhead at high speeds, adding more onto the fact that he can react and have reaction speeds on par with faster than light characters. Overall, Powerplex scales to multi-city country levels with faster than light speeds at max power. Some of the characters he can beat includes Bulletproof, Immortal, Oliver, and some Viltrumites such as Thula and the weaker Mark variants, with a chance against the stronger ones such as Lucan and Vidor.